right, man. Again, thanks for hopping on with me, bro. I know that more people will probably join as we get started. Good thing it's recorded, so anybody not here now can definitely listen a little bit later. I'll be reposting it, put it on YouTube, all the good stuff. So thanks, the dude, for joining. I know it's been a while since spoke to you on X, but I think since launch date, I think it's going on 6 months. You guys launched late February. I don't recall the actual date. When was the launch date for Helios?
I I believe it was February 28th. Um, yeah, because it was before March. It was like right before March. Yeah, we're on day 173, so that's you know math. How many months is that?
Yeah, at the end of this month, it'll be about 6 months, so half a year. That kind of flew by pretty quick for everybody. Um, I know that when you guys launched, and I looked at a deck screener just to make sure. I was like, yeah, that's when the token shot up, just like Titanx did on launch date, and then it goes down and then does its thing. But it looks like uh, since launch, like on the day of launch, the price of Titanx had already been going down for about a month and then continued to go down. Do you think that was something that kind of spoiled the launch, or how did that affect things going on from the start? Because I know you guys launched right away with the miners, where I'm assuming it probably affected miner ROI as the Titan price went down.
So really, what really affected our day one launch was Ethereum. The current gas prices was like 200 gwei or something. Like, and for perspective, it's 2 gwei right now. So it was 100x the gas prices. So, it really shut down those small guys that want to start a $10 miner. They're not going to do that and pay uh, $40 in fees to do that. So it really limited I feel like the day one launch. And me personally, like I had intentions on starting 10 different miners at 10 different variables, because I really like having a spread instead of trying to pick one winner. Like I'm going to win. Some of these are going to be big winners and have that spread. Then when I saw the gas prices just insane, it was like, well, I'm going to do 3. So I went from starting 10 miners to, well, I did the same amount total, instead of splitting it across 10, I just split it across 3 and simplified my diversification strategy because of those gas prices. But as far as like the miner ROI, the Titanx USD price has nothing to do with it. It's solely the HLX to Titanx ratio what determines what the miner ROI is. So yeah, currently the HLX price is 2.74 Titanx. That's what's going to give you that miner ROI percentage on the website, not the USD.
Gotcha. Yeah, now I look back, I do remember day one of miners. It was like a ridiculous amount of gas that you had to pay to make a miner. And I was like, dude, this just launched. I do remember having to wait a few days. I'm sure people did them anyways. And I think the short term miners were kind of like Titan X lasted, but a much shorter period from what I recall, as far as like the ROI. But now that you look at things, fast forward 6 months down the road, uh, if you did 250-day miners, the max, you're in profit. And right now, if you start one, it looks like max miners, are about 129% ROI, which is obviously more attractive and an easier thing to market, as far as ROI, because I know that changed pretty drastically. Just like Titan X miners started to gradually go out of profit. I think it happened like with Helios, but now everything's looking good. Plus, the gas is super cheap. So it looks like now's like the best time. And we're not at the bottom, but we were just there in July, so I think now's the best time to start a Helios miner. Are you personally making more miners now yourself, seeing that the ROI's changed quite a bit?
It's to be honest, it's very small amounts. Like what I had set aside for participating in Helios, I'm just like everybody else. I've got Titanx miners that are still cooking, still coming out. And again, with Titanx, I spread myself across. I've got a miner coming out every couple of weeks, since I got into Titanx. And so each week or each miner that comes through, it's different strategies. Um, but yeah, absolutely. Like Helios, that positive ROI, we've only barely went out of profit. Like Titanx, I feel like had insane high ROIs and then dumped super hard and went negative for a long time. And we're still negative, but it's coming back. I feel like with the Helios launch, it wasn't quite that way. We ran the same kind of style where there was that initial pump, and then about 50 days in, we had a secondary little pump where it was extremely profitable, but it was much more dumbed down. And so we've been able to sustain minor profitability for much longer. And it was a lot easier for us once we got out of it. Like our bear market was like a month or something, 2 months maybe. And now we're back into profitable miners again. So I like the way it went. And our supply is much smaller than Titanx because of all of those factors. It's a smaller protocol, but still, I feel like our treasury is still going to make a huge difference in for the community. I'm looking at we've got 781 billion Titanx staked. And that's currently like this next 369 payout. We're looking at about 200K worth of ETH coming in. Having this lower supply is really going to shine when we see the buy and burn really kick into effect after this payout. I think as opposed to like Titanx where there's trillions out there, liquid HLX, we're looking at 417 billion. That's like nothing really compared to Titanx.
So your treasury payout, how are you distributing that? Because it's all going to be paid. It looks like in Titan X, right? The 781 billion. Yeah, it says it's worth $304,000. So when the treasury gets that payout, what does it do exactly with the Titan X from there?
Well, it's getting paid in ETH, and
Okay, so ETH. So okay, because it says, let's see, where do I see that on your dashboard? I just see the treasury holds 781 billion Titan X. So I said that wrong. So you get an ETH payout, and is that something you guys are showing on your dashboard anywhere? Like what you guys are going to get distributed?
I don't. I need to add that. I've been using Mike Dean's Titanx Hub. Like you can just paste our treasury contract address into like the Titanx Hub, and it'll show all the current payouts. So that's what I've been using. And I just take screenshots of that to share on socials or whatever. It probably should be added to our website, that you mention it.
Yeah, that'll be a little cool because I'm going in and I'm plugging in the contract address to take a look, and then I'll take a look. I'm gonna take a look down here to see what you guys are gonna get paid out. I don't think it's not working on my end right now. I think I would have to connect as a wallet, or it's not showing me. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but with that Ethereum that you guys are getting, how is that going to be implemented then? Because that's a pretty big payout.
Yeah, 70% of it is going straight to our buy and burn pool. And it will sit there in our buy and burn pool as ETH. And then the way our buy and burn is designed is when you click the button, it will take whatever the cap per swap is. It'll take that Titanx and buy HLX and then burn it. If there's not any Titanx in the pool, then it will dip out of the ETH pool and then buy Titanx and then buy HLX. So that ETH that we're getting is really just going to be sitting there in reserves until we actually run out of Titanx in our buy and burn. And then it'll start eating at that ETH as well. So that's 70%. And then 10% is going to the stakers pool. So if you're staking HLX, right now it's primarily Titanx that are in our payouts. Like our 420-day payout has got over 600 billion Titanx. It's going to fill with ETH as well. So you're going to be earning Titanx and ETH if you're a Helios staker. And then 20% is going to our investment pool, where we use those funds to whatever the community wants to use them for. We haven't really had much discussions in the community on that, and I kind of feel like let's just wait till we're closer at that date before we start, trying to decide what we want to do with it. But if the community wants to take that ETH and buy, Doge and hope it goes to the moon, like whatever, I don't know whatever people want to do, and obviously as a community, we will put together like 2 or 3 strategies, and then we'll put that to an official vote. And then whatever strategy is voted on, we can create a smart contract to enact that strategy.
Okay, so all right. That's exciting, especially because I'm a staker. I went pretty big on staking from the beginning, and looking at my future payouts, I'm like, well, those are going to be pretty nice coming up here, and then obviously, if the price of Titan X is much higher, then it's going to be a much higher payout. But I didn't know that the Treasury was going to get that big payout and was going to help out the stakers, ultimately the miners too as well, because the miners I would imagine that the ROI would probably skyrocket since not only you're burning Titan X, but you're burning Helios HLX as well. So miners that are aligned during that point in time could probably have a very high ROI, I would imagine. I could speculate that because I've always thought Titan X was going to do very well in the long run, and the more that's burned, the better, because it's gonna buy Helios and then burn the Helios. Titan X is gonna already have been burned so much by then, and then Dragon X is gonna add to that, and all the other platforms as well. Just looking at your chart though, you guys, in comparison to like Titan X and Dragon X, the chart, like Titanx just came out of its bottom in July. It had about the same bottom. I think it was in April. Dragon X kind of flatlined for several months. Didn't do much, but you guys had some pretty big price action like in April and May. I know in May Giannis came out, but what happened in April? There was like a skyrocket there. Was there something I missed? Because I couldn't find of anything else launched that I wasn't aware of.
That was purely, I mean, this is my speculation, but I feel pretty spot on with it. That was purely just a supply and demand situation where, like we said, we had, I think a big majority of our users were hoping this was going to be a Titanx reboot where they could start 3-day miners, 5-day miners, and 5x their money, and then compound that into more, and blah blah blah. Our launch didn't go that way. The tokenomics were not designed the same way, and a lot of those short-term miners didn't make all those insane gains they thought they were going to make. And then they just kind of dumped at a loss and left. And then with the limited amount of mining that we had going on, it was either long-term minded people doing max miners or all those extremely short miners. And so that pump was around day 50 or so. And in that area, nobody was mining. Nobody had miners coming out in that time frame. So the buy and burn was just doing its normal job, and from day 1 to day 50, people were selling into that buying burn, but they got exhausted by day 50. Nobody had any HLX to sell into it, and then once that happened, the buy and burn just kept running like normal, and it went on a tear for like 18 to, yeah, a couple of weeks. And in that time frame, the ROI got so high that people could make short-term miners profitable, 10 days or less. And so we had this huge spike of mining, and then you see the following dump. Those are all the short-term miners jumping in there, getting it, and dumping the chart. And then we kind of had another run up after that. And then that's when the ROI was still positive, but low enough to not attract all the short-term minded people, and it just kind of, tapered off from there. But that's really kind of where my opinion on it was. Is I was looking at the charts and looking at the Dune analytics, and I was like, man, there's like a 3-week gap where like virtually no HLX is coming into market. Like, and I was thinking, man, that's very interesting. I should probably do something about this. And then it went exactly as I thought it would. It was impressive to see.
Yeah, I mean the way I see, like the way I've played HLX, I've different wallet strategies. Like one where I went heavy on staking, and then I had another one set up with my miners. Now that I have miners, coming up down the road, it made me, and based off like what's on provided right now, as far as when you go on Deck Screener and you see the liquidity, like it doesn't make sense to sell the HLX. It makes sense to stake it. But the one thing I'm excited about, and I don't hear very many people talking about it, but I started to play around with it, and I go, well, I'm going to be able to get like a ton of HLX soon, and all I'll have to do is bridge that over to PulseChain, LP it with Giannis, and you guys pretty much match it. If I have 1,000 in HLX, you guys match it on the other end with Giannis LP, and then I get this LP pool I'm in, and then it goes up 1% per month. I was like, all right, that's a nice slow grind, but I like the concept. Or how is Janice going so far? I mean, I can't see on my end how many people are participating, but I couldn't imagine why anybody wouldn't put their HLX in that, and even Titanx. I think you could bridge over Titanx and do it. You guys got a long list of tokens here from DragonX, 9-inch tokens, Hex. I got a lot of Hex. Yeah, I see a good opportunity there if you kind of want to jump into Janus, because I think that's the latest thing you guys added.
Yeah, absolutely. As designed, I'm super happy with what I've built on that. Like, it's doing exactly what I had hoped it to do. Where the lacking side of things is the LP promo, I for whatever reason was too complex for most users. They didn't really quite understand it. I would say number one, the biggest barrier is this is not on ETH. So you've got to bridge your HLX over to PulseChain. That's a barrier. And then secondly, there's what I'm finding is there's a lot of PulseChain haters, or a lot of people that don't know what PulseChain or care what it is. So I think we lost a lot of user base just on that aspect of laziness. I don't want to bridge, or I don't know what this is. So we got very small participation on the LP promo. It doesn't really matter too much, I guess, because those rewards are sitting in that smart contract. And it will sit there forever until somebody wants to take it. So it's going to be, I see it as one of those things where this wasn't like a launch and then mooning in the price. This is much more of a slow grind type of situation. So I think that's also going to cater to different kinds of people. But I'm with you. Like, I think it's a great deal. I personally am, using it myself. But what I'm finding is very, very small participation. And that's kind of like the whole selling point of Giannis is it's an arbitrage token. We've got roughly 40 different LPs. And like you saw, you can add to roughly 16 of those. And I picked tokens specifically that I felt like were more bullish, so that, obviously, if, the bonded liquidity thing is, if, you're bullish on HLX, you put your HLX in this LP promo, we match it with the Giannis, and now you're adding liquidity to it. So when HLX pumps, it helps Giannis pump. And to me, that's like, a lot of people are worried about impermanent loss in LPs, and a lot of people have heard that, oh, that's for advanced users. I tried to make this as simple as possible. You don't need to know anything about LPs. All of the LP creation and management is done for you on the website, where you can just, log in, select your stake that you've created, and see the value of your LP. And you can see the amount of tokens that have increased in that LP, the percentage of that LP that you're owning is increasing. And then at any point decide, you know what, that's great, I want to take profits, and then you just pull it out. There's no lockup period or anything. So I would say, like, everybody I've talked to about it, they really like the ideas and the concepts, but for whatever reason, there's been lower amounts of participation. And again, I think I attribute most of that to it being on PulseChain. So it kind of is what it is. But as far as like how it's working, it's doing exactly its job. There's virtually no humans trading Giannis, but there is trading volume going on every day on all the pairs. And that's through, like I said, arbitrage. These are all bots that are just buying Giannis on one pair and then immediately selling Giannis on another pair for, a couple of pennies of profit. So like that arbitrage bot made a couple of pennies, and in the process, they're paying this buy sell tax, and that tax is going to the Treasury. That's going towards buying and burning Giannis. It's going towards building our second treasury in the Wonderland ecosystem, which I'm super pumped about as well. I feel like that's, if you know anything about like Atropa or PTGC, which is kind of the same idea that Giannis is doing. Wonderland's got that same concept with a twist that I really enjoy. So I'm happy to have the Wonderland ecosystem in our treasury. And that's holding those tokens, we're earning pulse, and with that pulse we are sending that to the Giannis buy and burn. So it's like feeding each other. The Giannis tax is acquiring Wonderland tokens, and then with those Wonderland tokens we're earning pulse, and we're buying and burning Giannis with it. So like that's that circular effect that is unstoppable. Like, this is, whether humans are dealing with it or not, bots are going to be taking advantage of this, and they are. The only thing that I would love to see is more participation in the LP promo itself, because more volume or more liquidity is going to equal more volume, which equals more taxes paid and more going towards our treasuries and all of those things. And it's hard to convey to people like the benefits of it. Like, I feel like there just needs to be additional marketing on it, because to me it's been proven. Giannis has been running for quite a while now, and it's one of those things. I feel like it's a slow burn. Like, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be supporting Helios, and if Helios falls in value, if it takes a hard dump, Giannis will be there. Like, that will create opportunities for people to say, hey, I can mint Giannis, I can burn my Helios, mint Giannis, and then immediately sell my Giannis on the market for a profit. And there's going to be an arbitrage opportunity there. And in that process, again, they are burning Helios, they are adding more funds to our treasury. And all of these treasuries are, they're always growing, never selling, forever locked. And that's the whole ethos of what Helios is this is, I like to call it a zombie protocol, where like even if everybody said, you know what, I don't like this protocol, I'm selling all, I'm getting out, they can do that, and we are still going to be earning ETH from our Titanx Treasury. We're going to be earning Pulse from our Wonderland Treasury. That's all going towards buying and burning the token. The price will recover, and when it does, people will see positive miner ROI, and the whole cycle starts up again. To me, like you can't kill this protocol.
I definitely appreciate what you did with Giannis, being that I interact on a daily basis on multiple blockchains where I'm going and adding or breaking up LPs on different platforms and protocols. This is just you select a token, a one click does it for you, matches the LP. And then when it comes to Pulse Chain, I mean, ultimately, Titanx, the day one pitch was it's a leverage on Ethereum, right? And the thing about Pulse Chain, ever since Richard Hart took a large amount of the sacrifice funds and bought Ethereum, which he bought it like $3,700, he's down a lot. Pulse Chain itself has become a leverage on Ethereum as well. So if you ultimately think that this Ethereum's going to go up 2 to 3x in the bull market, which I think it could reasonably do that, Titanx is going to do very well. On top of that, the burning mechanics from all of the different protocols built on it is going to propel that because of the reason of it being a leverage on Ethereum. But Pulse Chain will too. So I think it's got a good home. And everywhere you look, the floors are finally happening. I think, maybe the absolute bottom for Pulse Chain might be coming soon, already has happened.
I
I
hope so.
Yeah, but once things gradually move and Ethereum takes off, you're going to see users, flowing in. And I think Janice is a good, or Giannis, call it Janice, sorry. Giannis is a good place for me to go and say, hey, look, maybe I don't want to be caught up in my hex stakes, for 30, 60 days. And I can have, the flexibility of just going into Giannis, parking it there and, being able to take it out whenever I want. But I still feel like building that LP pool with Pulse, Wrapped Pulse, and Giannis is going to work out well in the long run, seeing that everything is pretty much at the bottom. Hopefully, it doesn't continue to drop, like I said, but I definitely like it, and I have intentions on adding a pretty big bag size to this feature here, and probably will do some content on it because I just think it's something that is a slow grind, but like you've never heard of that. Somebody matching your LP, and then on top of that, if you look at I think it's a document you guys have here. It shows you a clear image on what happens every month. As it goes up 1%, 1%. If I take a look here, LP promotion shows. Let me take a look. I was looking at it earlier. Month one, 51%, 52%. So it continues to go up all the way to 36 and more, 86%, right? So I don't know where else you can get that in crypto, to be honest. I don't care how
And,
slow
and
it is.
that's and that's not talking about trading fees at all. Like those numbers are with zero trading going on. So that's like you put that in there and not a single trade happens, you're still pulling out with that, those returns. And then you factor in trading, which we're seeing with Giannis. The bots are amazing on Pulse Chain. I don't know if it's the low gas fees or what, but the bots, like I would create a new LP with Giannis, and within seconds, bots are equalizing that LP with all the others. Like they are on top of it. So like there is volume going on, and with no humans. So if you factor that in on top of it, like you're earning additional percentages of the LP, but you're also earning trading fees from all these bots that are relentless. To me, it's a great deal. We've got there's 258 billion Giannis in the LP promo that are up for grabs for anybody. Once that's out, it's out. And so this is a limited time promo, but how many did I say? 258. Let me do the price analysis on that. It's I want to say it's a couple $100,000 that are up for grabs for people to get. Let's see. Here we go. 258 billion. No, $420,000. Look at that.
That's a beautiful thing. And just looking at the breakdown on the ownership, is it the Dow team LP that's just giving up on 1% per month and giving it on the other end as you grow that? Looks like the user LP goes up 1%, but the matched Dow team LP is going down 1% per month. So it's a trade off of 1% from one side to the other. Is that how you guys are able to do this?
Yeah, so the way I look at it is if you create, if you do this LP promo and then 2 days later you pull it out, like you're only getting 50%. So nobody really wins or loses. It's pretty much a wash. Um, but the longer you hold it there, yeah, you're basically taking the DAO's portion of that LP. You're taking that from them. But the way I see it is the DAO is benefiting because you are adding liquidity to these Giannis LPs, and when you add liquidity, that's helping increase the trade volume, and that increased trade volume is really what we're looking for, because that's the buy and sell tax. More trade volume equals more buy sell tax that's getting put into the DAO's treasury. So to me, if you're willing to put liquidity in that pool and let it sit there for months on months on, like how much additional liquidity, like how much more value is that adding? And I feel like it's an even trade. So the user is benefiting personally, but the DAO is benefiting on the back end with the buy and sell taxes.
Yeah, this looks like it could be, like I say, it's a slow grind, but as far as like the price of the token, I feel like once adoption of Giannis takes place and people are taking advantage of this, then obviously like price action starts to happen, people buying it, burning for it as well. Burning for it says it's negative 29%. So when someone sees that, they probably are not attracted to do it, but I feel like you could probably still burn HLX for that now. And as long as you're holding the Giannis, later down the road that could become profitable for what you're holding in comparison to when you did it, or should you wait till it's absolutely showing that it's a plus versus minus for that burn?
Yeah, no, I would definitely say if it's a negative ROI, I would not click that button. And if you're looking to get in, then with that negative ROI, that's saying that you're going to get a better deal if you just take your HLX and just buy Giannis off the market. If you're trying to accumulate Giannis and do that type of thing, I would say you're better off buying it off market. Just like a negative ROI on a miner, like you don't want to do that. You'd be better off just buying it off the market. You're going to have those funds instantly. You don't have to wait, and you're getting a better deal. So it'd be the same with Giannis. The only time the way that's designed is if Giannis does start mooning, it's going to drag HLX up with it, or it's going to create additional burns on the HLX side. But like as of right now, nobody's minting it, and so Giannis is effectively a cap supply. It's actually deflationary because every buy and sell is burning Giannis. So the supply of Giannis is decreasing every day, and the treasuries are growing, and the buy and burn is going to continue going, and eventually, it will get above that price, and then we'll see those minting going on. But right now, like it's something that I wouldn't look into myself. Like it has to be a positive ROI, and I put the 3% sell tax that's factored in there as well. So if you see a positive ROI, that means you can mint Giannis and sell it on the market. And even though you're paying that 3% sell tax, you're still going to be profitable on that trade.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, right now Giannis is at the top of my list because I've recently come out and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna try the Dragon X. I've gone into that really late. Obviously, it was a big critic of the entire platform because of the staking at the very beginning. So I did that, but then I was going to do more in the Dragon X, but I'm like, no, you know what? The attention is there. I gotta find something where you know eyes are not there yet. People haven't figured it out yet. So I've been looking around, and when I discovered this, I was like, I think this is going to be the one where I pay attention to it now, just like everything else I've done well in crypto. Once all eyes are on something, you got in early before anybody even is even hyped up or talking about it, is where you find the greatest opportunity. So my hope is to jump on this and definitely catch the train before it takes off. And just to get an understanding, once you pull this LP, you're breaking off with just your, for example, you go in, get matched to wrap pulsed. You're not going to break the LP and walk out with Janus and wrap pulse. It's just your wrap pulse that you went in with, but based off impermanent loss, whatever's left over. Correct?
No, you are getting that LP. Like if it's you're getting both tokens at the end of the day.
No way. Oh God. Okay. I see what you did there. Okay. And it's not locked. So that's a beautiful thing.
The minimum is 1 day, and that was just to prevent any kind of whale games. I wasn't sure how it could be exploited, but I didn't want people creating and immediately breaking down LPs. So I put a 1 day limit on that. But yeah, to me, my opinion on Giannis is, uh, it PulseChain is in a bear market, and you can see that with Giannis. It's bonded with all of those LPs with PulseX, Hex, PDI, all these, SolidX, all of the big tokens. Like none of those, all those are falling in price. So once the PulseChain ecosystem turns around, you'll definitely start seeing what Giannis was designed for. It'll be much more apparent. But to my opinion of it is like it's a fairly risk-free play. If you're taking your HLX and throwing it in there and pairing it with Giannis, to me that's a pretty risk-free play because Giannis is primarily paired with HLX. So it's going to follow that price of HLX more so than any of the other pairs. So even and in that case, you're earning HLX and Giannis tokens, which are linked together. I think you're going to have a lot smaller risk of impermanent loss. I think impermanent loss is um, the biggest risk of impermanent loss is when you're doing like pairing with a stable coin, like ETH and USDC or something. Like ETH pumps, well, your LP pair is not going to pump because it's paired with the stable token. But in this case, if HLX pumps, Giannis is going to pump with it. So both tokens in your LP are now pumping. So the value of your LP will pump with it. It doesn't get left behind like a standard LP would be with certain tokens. And I'm finding that with like for any LP users out there, I think it's I think it's a great idea if you've got liquid to hold LP tokens within the ecosystem. If you're bullish on Helios, having Titanx and Helios LP, you're not missing out on a Titanx pump because if Titanx pumps, so does HLX. So the value of your LP is pumping with it. But in the process, you're earning all of these trading fees, while you're sitting on it, and then there's no lock time. You can always pull out your LP at any point, and then do whatever you want with those tokens. But I'm finding like these bonded LPs, it's I feel like it reduces your risk of impermanent loss by a ton.
Yeah, I'm adding some right now as we speak because I'm like, I got to put some wrapped ETH because I think the one token that I send over to PulseChain right now is I'm starting to bridge over a ton of wrapped ETH on a few wallets that I'm gonna start accumulating Pulse, but I'm waiting for like a big hex dip that I think that's coming. So I'm like, you know what? I could just park it here while I wait for that dip, or keep it there because the 1% jump per month that adds up, man. Especially if you're just trying to relax and chill until we go from a bear market to a bull because right now we're in the recovery phase. And I'm like, we're not in a bull market until Bitcoin's 10,000 over the last all-time high. I don't care what anybody says. And, Ethereum goes to, 4,000 plus. But I find a place I can call home, definitely, because I got a lot of stakes on Pulse Chain coming up for Hex that are going to unlock. And I'm going to be really considering putting probably most of it in here.
Yeah, I appreciate you raising awareness to this. It's something that I've kind of been lacking lately. I've been, my time has been much more towards building this next protocol that I've got. With Giannis, I've kind of taken the approach of it's out there, it's doing its thing. Bots are buying and selling it. I can always come back to it at any point to try to help promote, that project. But to me, my priority has been this next. I've got 2 projects in the pipeline that I'm just too excited about. Like I'm working overtime just because like it's all I can think about. Like I get off work and I'm trying to like do something else, and I find myself just thinking about these protocols and like how do I make them better? Like what, just all of those things. It's so hard to tear me away from the laptop right now.
And these protocols are going to be HLX focused protocols, like for helping burning and locking them up.
Actually, both of them are going to be somewhat standalone projects. The way they are going to help Helios specifically. So we'll start with the next project that's coming out. It's going to be an NFT project, and the way it's going to help Helios is it's going to fill our treasury with all of the Titanx ecosystem tokens. And then with those, as a community, we can decide what we want to do with those. Like with Titanx, that would be an easy choice. That's just, we already have a Titanx treasury. We can just throw all the Titanx we get into that treasury and start earning more ETH on that side of things. Blaze tokens, we can just stake the Blaze tokens and start earning ETH there as well. But really, it's up to the community what we want to do with them. But the value add for Helios on this next project is definitely going to be, we're going to own tokens from the entire ecosystem. We will have Dragon X tokens. We will have Blaze, Inferno. What am I missing? Baby Dragon X, Hyper. All of these tokens are going to be flowing into our treasury. And then to me, that's the exciting part is like for the community is strategizing. What do we want to do with all these? But I think the value add is going to be huge on that. And HLX tokens. We're our treasury will be holding our own tokens. What do you do with those? Do we just burn them? There's no. Do we stake them and then add Titanx to our treasury? The combinations are endless, and my goal is to just fill these treasuries, this investment pools with tokens, and then let the community decide what they want to do with them. And then, these are all going to official votes on Snapshot. And if you've got miners, you got stakes, you got liquid HLX, all of that gets factored into your voting power. So Everybody really truly has a say in what's going on with our protocol. And that goes for the buy and burn rates as well. The last vote, everybody agreed, we don't need the buy and burn right now. Let's just turn it off. And so it's off right now. We're in discussions on when, and how that turns back on, how we want to look at that. Most likely it'll be on by the 369 payout, because why not? We're getting a massive payout, and if not turn it on then when? My perspective on it is if miner ROI is positive, then we are a healthy, happy protocol. Mining's happening, stakers, the stake pools are getting filled, all of those things are happening, the treasuries are growing. So why spend that economic energy on expending our buy and burn if we don't need to? But ultimately, it is up to the community.
I like that coming down to a vote. Like, the people want it, they'll vote for it, and the majority chooses to go one way. Then it was done the fair way. Especially if these are all people voting that are participants in the platform. What I don't want to ask like financial advice, but for users that are part of the platform right now, I think knowing the 369 payout, how big that's going to be, seeing the miner profitability right now over 100%, over 120%, it's like 126%. If you're a user that is coming in, or a user that has Titanx, are you recommending like, hey, you know, get that Titanx, put into work into some miners, split it up into staking, or because it looks like staking's gonna get a lot more rewards, but the rewards grow from the miners. That's the flywheel. I think Titanx needs a place for people to utilize their Titanx instead of just selling it on the market. So, how do you see the miner ROI changing if someone decides to go that route? You think it's going to continue to grow and be, 200, 300%? Or how do you see that playing out with the way the price of Titanx has been?
It really depends on the market. If we get a huge influx of short-term miners, that's generally not very good for the ecosystem, primarily because they are short-term minded. They just want their instant profits, and they don't really care about the protocol or the future of it. They're just jumping in there to make a few X, if whatever X percentage. They immediately dump their tokens on the market, and they'll either remine if it's still profitable, or say, what, I'm done here, I'm moving on to something else. If you get much more people interested in the ecosystem and they're trying to get max value and they're doing max miners, they typically are more um, aligned with the protocol incentives, and they're not there trying to just dump the charts. Like they're putting some of their HLX into stakes, like you said, and doing those types of things. I can't really. The market's going to do what they want. I'm not trying to direct anybody to do anything. My goals are to just keep providing value to the Helios ecosystem without you having to start a miner. And that's, like I said, like this next project. This is going to put all of the tokens in our treasury, and somehow, some way, those tokens are going to be earning value for us, and that's just going to add, you know, more value. It's going to compound. Like our Titanx treasury is only growing, and any of these future treasuries that we build, they're only going to grow as well. And so over time, it just starts snowballing, and we're super early. I think the FOMO won't come in until they see our treasury's got 20 different tokens in it, and they're all working for us in different ways. But the end of it is buying and burning HLX and feeding our stakers, and then that's when they will really wake up.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to get fed through staking. I went to the max length on all of them. Like I said, I put a lot into that portion of the protocol. The value is nowhere near what it was when I went in, so that had been like for me, it was like, oh man, like a major bummer. But I'd always wondered, I'm like, I wonder if the dude's gonna go into the direction where Jake originally was gonna do, like Shogun, to get people a chance to get out of their stakes. Is that something that you may be considering as well, or are you just gonna leave it as is?
That functionality is there, but I don't have any. I don't have any plans in the near future to do that. We took a lot of people's feedback on the staking side of things. A big one was people didn't want to lock their tokens up for 10 years. So, a max stake to get your max benefit, it's only 830 days. That's much, much shorter, much less risk in people's eyes. And then secondly, we've blocked smart contracts from staking. So there's no unwanted protocols that are going to show up and take over half of the stake pool. And you've got your eyes on a certain payout date, and then that gets ripped out from underneath you. Like we didn't want people to see that as well. So I feel like with those two things, the lower stake duration and no risk of protocols taking over the stake pool, I think people are a lot more interested in participating in it.
Yeah, I mean, I like, yeah, I think it's no secret that I had a issue with that when it was done with Titanx. I understand it's for the greater good down the road. I've done with so many protocols that have done things like that before that have different tokenomics. And the thing that I find happens is, although down the road there's going to be a lot of ETH to help the token that it was done for, to, I think they're going to burn a lot of Dragon X and all that good stuff. I'm like, all right, I hope that works well. I'm in Dragon X, and a lot of people I know are in it. But there's always somebody at the end of the road to spoil the fun and dump into those pumps. So I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm sure, you can't hold people from selling, but um, there's plenty of money to go everywhere, I guess. And I'm just glad there's a lot of different options here. Seeing that Titan X's inflation was pretty hyperinflationary. So once we go completely deflationary, all these protocols are going to do well, and that's all you can hope for. It would be really nice if people were making miners for 3 months straight like crazy, like they were in Titan X. Then the staking would have been really exciting. Hopefully it can pick back up with the Treasury Payout and all the different features. But as far as the voting, I'm not clear on that. How do you get a position to cast your vote? Like, how do you get involved with that? Like, let's say I want to propose something like, "Hey, let's use the treasury money to buy and burn Giannis." How do you voice that, or how do you become? What are the steps?
So at the top of our website, there's a governance tab. You can click that, and it takes you to snapshot.org, and that shows you all of the current and old proposals that we've had and voted on. And if you're not familiar with Snapshot, you connect your wallet to Snapshot, and it when you do that, it reads all of your HLX assets and then assigns a voting value to that. And so that's where you're getting your voting power from. As far as like how do you participate, all of our discourse happens on Telegram. That's primarily where you're going to see me. If a proposal comes up, I'll absolutely post that on Twitter and try to make as much awareness as possible. But the makings of these proposals all happen in Telegram. Like right now, like I said, we're kind of discussing the buy and burn. And I've got two or three options laid out, and we're trying to formalize what that vote is going to look like. And then once we get that figured out, I'll go on Snapshot and create that proposal. As far as proposal creation goes, it's restricted to DAO members only, but anybody can voice their opinion in the Telegram and help shape these proposals.
Okay. I'm definitely going to go down that road and kind of research and look more into that, just to get my ideas. And maybe, you never know, maybe it can be up for vote. I'm looking at on X right now. Somebody's asking if you can touch on they're saying, speak about the eco token burns of the NFT project. So I'm assuming that's the NFT project you voiced out a second ago. You didn't really elaborate, but um, does that question make sense to you?
It does. I'm trying hard not to divulge too much information too early. Um, but yes, in this NFT project, we will be burning not just Helios, not just Titanx, but all of the ecosystem tokens. We really like the idea of the bonded liquidity. Like if one does well, we all do well. And so, in my opinion, like burning all of these ecosystem tokens is going to indirectly help Helios. So that's absolutely part of the process. That's what's going to be um, happening. Just Yeah, so it's an NFT project. It will involve, like I said, all of the ecosystem tokens. So a portion of those will get burned, a portion of those will go to the Helios Treasury. And it's really going to be designed to support the entire ecosystem. And really going to be marketed towards people that are kind of new to the ecosystem. You show up to Titanx and you're like, wow, there's 12 protocols here. I'm not reading 12 white papers. This is too complex. I don't know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is going to be a solution for you that, hold this NFT and you'll be taken care of.
And as far as like these projects, because I don't know what type of support you got from like Titanx, or I guess you could say Jake, because I know he was a huge factor in the success and the support from the Genesis wallet with DragonX. So that showed like that propelled it. That's why it's even around today. I don't if that doesn't happen, I don't think that thing kicks off like it does at all. That's like flat out wouldn't be a thing. So it was a good thing he did that for it to succeed in the long run. Did you get any support from him? Is anything from like the Genesis wallet to your treasury or anything like that, or any future support for your platforms? Because I'm not sure if he did that for any other platform.
We have not. Everything we've done has been completely on our own. And I've spoken to Jake, privately, and I was curious. My main concern is if he's gonna support protocols, like I don't want to be fighting the Genesis wallet. That's my only concern. And he told me that look, like the Genesis wallet's there to support the ecosystem. So as long as you're proving yourself, as beneficial to the ecosystem, the Genesis will support that. So I was happy with that answer, and I've moved on with like launching this protocol. And so as far as Genesis support, we haven't seen any, but we also haven't seen any funds in the Genesis wallet moving since Helios has been alive. I take that back. I believe there was a minor support for Hyper, which it's his own project. It's completely understandable. It's his funds to help support his own projects, But as far as like donations to our treasury, that would be amazing, but it's not necessary. I fully believe that we are successful and we will continue to be successful. And as a protocol, we are still super early in the Titanx ecosystem. You think about a year or two down the road, or the 4 year cycle. What's the next cycle going to look like? Are we going to have 100 protocols built on this? Um, Helios is always going to be in that top echelon of protocols. If you look on the Titanx Hub, I think Helios is always going to be at the top of that list. Because as Titanx gets more and more expensive, like, how is another project, going to raise enough funds to pull in, a trillion Titanx, or whatever? Like, down the road, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. So I feel like our position has been solidified. Obviously, again, if Jake were to, use Genesis to support us, that would be an immense full help to us. And we are a benign whale, in the ecosystem. 70% of what we get goes straight back into the ecosystem. So, but it's not necessary, and I really haven't spoken to Jake about this at all. We've just in recent times. So I'm curious, kind of myself, what Genesis Wallet is going to do next. Nobody really knows. It seems like even among the founders, Jake's kind of doing his own thing. And right, I understand he's building more projects. He's, I'm sure, just as busy as I am, if not more, juggling all of these things. So I'm not worried about it. Like, to me, even if Genesis were to send a bunch of tokens to another project to help get them off the ground, that other project is, I'm assuming, going to be benefiting the Titanx ecosystem. It's going to be burning Titanx. It's going to be raising the value of Titanx. And when they do that, HLX is bonded with Titanx. We will feel that price increase just like every other project. And that's the biggest selling point that I really love about the whole Titanx ecosystem is we're not protocols fighting against each other. Every protocol that comes out and wins and helps benefit the ecosystem, we all win. And we're seeing that with all the green candles we've had recently. Like, it seems like everybody in the ecosystem has been hitting green candles, and that's not by coincidence. That's the bonded LPs.
That's a no, that's a beautiful thing, and I don't think it should ever be protocol versus protocol. It's got to be the community supporting the protocols that are putting in the work. So, I mean, you guys had Helios, you've added, Giannis, you're building a couple more platforms. I think that this is the only build on Titanx protocol that is continuing to build, regardless of no help from the Titanx Genesis wallet. It's the only one that's still building. So I think you've earned a consideration or a thought. Maybe if Jake looks down the road to help you guys out, it'd be great because if it never happened with Dragon X, right, the participation was not good at all. Like when it started, when he shot the funds over, it propelled. Everyone's like FOMO, the Genesis wallet. Then it started going in. So the success would have never been there. That hands down is a big thank you to the Genesis wallet participating and doing a good deed like that, being a benevolent whale. But it would be nice to see it do it for another protocol like yourself that's just been 6 months. I'm still here, I'm still building because of that helped you in the way that Dragon X helped you. Then you have a second protocol that's going to be able to load up and burn more Titan X, because if you have just one successful project that had that type of support, and what it's going to do down the road with its 369 payout to burn its own token, be nice to see a second and third have that support. I think it just snowballs it, but the community has to be the people that go, hey, like, are you guys going to show any love to the Helios team? Like the community has to bring that out, where I think some of the community is probably like, we don't want to bite the hand that feeds us type of position. But I think you should express that, because it is for the greater good and overall what can happen with Titanx because of the participation of the Genesis wallet going into another protocol could be massive. So hopefully he considers that. It would be a beautiful thing for everybody.
I will say that absolutely Genesis helped Dragon X propel like they did, but that doesn't discount the idea that Dragon X had and what they built is sound. It's a great idea, and they will do well. Did Genesis help in the success? For sure. Would they have been successful without the help? I think so. Um, and then it's like it's kind of turns into a slippery slope where so if Jake sends us Titanx, now are other protocols gonna start expecting him to start sliding Titanx their way as well? Like, where does it end? What, I don't know. It's a hot topic for sure. And ultimately it's Jake's protocol. It's the Genesis wallet is owned by him, and he is free to do what he wants with those funds. So we can't expect anything out of what he's doing. Obviously, we can hope for it, and I am assuming that he wants Titanx to succeed to its maximum potential. So any of those Titanx funds that he's got in there, he's going to put towards what he feels like is going to benefit the ecosystem the most. Um, and I'm probably biased because I'm the dev for Helios, but I definitely believe that we are beneficial to the ecosystem, no doubt. And a Genesis wallet donation to our treasury would benefit the entire ecosystem, just like DragonX. We would be using all of those funds to buying Titanx and helping pump that token. But can we expect it? Absolutely not. Um,
No, it's always been a no expectations, and we're. I know that we're not even supposed to say that it's him because we don't know who owns it. We don't know what the wallet's going to do. We don't know. You can speculate it's him, but we don't know. We don't know if it's Jake. But um, at the same time, I hope whoever that may be does that type of move for another protocol because ultimately, like you said, it's going to help Titan X and just like it did with Dragon X, it gave it a one hell of a boost that's going to pay off big time down at the end of the road for the day 369 payout. Everyone wins their Titan X, Dragon X, the devs, everyone, you got to get paid for your work. But um, if it does do that for another project, I think then, we'll see some great stuff happen. But you just can't expect it. And at the same time, you never know what that wallet's going to do. We're not supposed to know. We're not, we can only speculate, but we'll see, man. I think you're putting in the work. If I was controlling the wallet and I was me, I know where I would put it to help propel the overall ecosystem. But I still think it's up to the community to go, hey, hey, whoever owns the wallet, take a look at this platform because the squeaky wheel gets the grease at the end of the day, you know. And I don't know if anybody questions it in the community, but it's not that I'm questioning it. I'm just hopeful and hoping that it does happen because ultimately put us all in a better position.
Yeah, I will never stop somebody from reaching out to Jake to suggest a donation to our treasury. And I do want to point out for anybody, I've had a few DMs of people wanting to build on Helios, and yeah, 100% of that Titan X, like there's no dev fee in our treasury. I'm getting 0% of anything that's in that treasury. 100% of that is going to the Helios community. And to me, I think that's important for anybody that's wanting to participate or help Helios. If you're building on Helios and you put Titan X in our treasury, 100% of that's going back towards you as a builder on top of us. So I think the incentives are aligned with the community as much as possible.
Yeah, I can really respect that. I saw across the board, when you first talked about the fees and all that you had and the adjustments you made. It just really shows that you're truly about the community. You believe in Titanx. You're very flexible. You're not a greedy person. So it was an easy sell for me with you to get into the protocol. And I'll continue to support it however I can. I think my next venture, as far as like content, I never really did content on the miners during the time the miner profitability on Titanx is going down. So talking about another miner, with Helios and all that didn't make sense probably for myself and other people. I think the thing I will venture into with your protocol is talking about Giannis, and then we'll see where we go when you have your other two. I look forward to the other two protocols you have in the works. I know we've been on a long one here, kind of just talking and catching up, but don't want to keep you too long. But is there anything else, any alpha you want to drop, any information, anything you want to say to viewers or anyone listening that you want to voice out there before we wrap things up for the day?
No, I've enjoyed the chat. This has been, I think, very informational for everybody that's not completely familiar with Helios. I'd like to just say that I am 100% available, mostly on Telegram. Anybody can jump in our chat and ask any and all the questions they've got. And we've got some helpful mods in there as well that can kind of answer all those questions. Uh, as far as anything else goes, like I am here to stay. I love what Jake has built. This Titanx ecosystem is massive to me, and I'm happy to build alongside DragonX and Blaze and all these other protocols that are soon to come out. And I'm no different. I'm going to continue building and adding more value to this ecosystem because I already see the value there. So yeah, I would say look out in the next week or two, and I will start divulging a lot more information about this next NFT project I got going. I just want to solidify a couple more things before we really start the marketing hype on that. And then as far as the launch timeline, it's I'm going to say soon. It's not going to take too long to finish what we've got going on there. And then again, I'm not stopping. This project will launch, and I'm developing two simultaneously. So, cheers, man! Like this is amazing ecosystem. I'm really looking forward to the Titanx miners to start back up and restart that cycle. That'll be cool to see. And the only way that happens is the Titanx price pumps. So it's like a win-win-win all the way around. I don't see how this ecosystem can lose. Like our strategy is just airtight, in my opinion. And of course, not financial advice. Do your own research. Everybody, this is DeFi. You are responsible for your own wallets and all your own actions and what you do. But me personally, I love this ecosystem and can't wait to see what it looks like, a year, or like I said, 4 years, the next 4 year cycle. I think this will be just massive. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the invite to be here today, taking the time, hour and a half long, interview here, picking your brain, giving us some breakdowns on some of the features you've added and what you got coming up, man. Always love to extend my hand to an invite later as things start to evolve and move forward, because we'll probably be having way different conversations down the road where Titanx is 10xing, 15xing from this position. I think all the protocols across the board are gonna, the tides are gonna rise together, and it's gonna be a lot different discussion. There's gonna be a lot more green. What do they call them? Green banners. Green. What do you call those things on X that everybody has? Somebody told me to get one the other day. The outline. And there's gonna be a whole lot of those all over X and a whole lot of excitement. It's already here, so it's coming. And yeah, thanks again, and we'll talk soon, bro.
All right, cool, man. Thanks. Have a good one.
You take care and good luck. I hope you do get some support from the Genesis wallet. I'll put it out there, the good energy. Hopefully the community, you know, speaks out and says, "Hey, take a look at this protocol. Maybe they can use a little help." You never know. So, take it easy, man, and enjoy your day. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll catch you later.